Thank you. That was great. Julene Tripp lives in Seattle, where she is a psychotherapist and a writer. She worked in AIDS services for over 21 years. Her third poetry book, Truth Be Bold, Serenading Life and Death in the Age of AIDS, was published this spring by Finishing Line Press and is available this evening at the reading. 2 prior books are No Father Can Save Her and Case Walking, an AIDS Case Manager Wails Her Blues. She is widely published in journals and anthologies, including Anti-Heroin Chic, River Babble, River and South Review, the Seattle Review of Books, HIV Here and Now, and In the Words of Women International 2016 anthology. Julene is also a person who is on a short list of people who we've had back. I mean, there's so many great writers in the Pacific Northwest that we can't have too many of them back, even though they're all doing this great work. But we just, we wanted to give her a chance to present this great new book, and congratulations on the book. And as I mentioned, she's going to be teaching a workshop here tomorrow night that she'll tell you more about. And we're just really happy to have her back here in Vancouver again. Please give a warm Ghost Town welcome to Julene Weaver.
Well, thank you. It is delightful to be back here. I came when my last book came out, No Father Can Save Her, which came out in 2011. So it has been a while since I've been here. And these are 2 very different books. So as Chris said, I worked in HIV and AIDS for 21 years. And not only that, but I am a long-term survivor living with HIV and AIDS. So I wrote this book for the first time being public about it in a big way. It was something I kept private pretty much my whole career and the whole time I've been infected. So I will start with the initial poem in the book is called The Addition of Audience, a Meditation. And one of the readers made a reference to meditation near the end of your poem. I appreciated hearing that. If anyone comes tomorrow to my little workshop, which we're going to write in that workshop, I'll start it off with a meditation. But this is a poem meditation. This is my coming out poem. You may think you know what that means, but I am coming out by adding you to a sacred circle. So please, bow your head. Let it drop slowly and allow your neck to stretch, to feel the small cracklings, to feel whatever there is to feel. Now that you feel yourself, stay inside for a moment. This is my invitation. This is my addition of you into my life. Feel how you react to what I have to tell you. You might think you know what it is. Slowly raise your head, still feeling your neck, and let us look at each other. What I have to say is not easy, but I must get it out. It has been locked inside a long time. All I want from you is to witness, while staying with your own feelings. And please, for the moments after, keep your reactions silent within you. Let them bounce. Because this is a serious coming out poem, and I am gradually preparing you. Since you barely know me, it may not matter. I don't want you to distance yourself from me. Remember, we perhaps have more in common than different. I eat, live, work, pay bills, enjoy going out with friends. I am one of you, and I have AIDS. Let's all sit together with you knowing this. Sit fully with yourself, seeing me as I could be you, living with AIDS. What does it feel like? I feel vulnerable, but I have come to feel it is necessary to be honest. Not that I haven't been honest, but I've had a veil on for safety, and this right now does not feel safe. Where are you as I add you into my life? When was your last HIV test? Do you think you need one? No, neither did I. The time between the test and the result was easy because I didn't believe I would be positive. Then I got the news. What fell into place is that this truly is a lifetime about death, about the loss of my soul and a death wish since the day my father died. It is a spiritual journey. Knowledge does not make us change our behavior. It does not change our sexual fantasies. Living with AIDS, I grieve the loss of full indulgence. But I will always be a ball of contradictions, touching many points that do not exist. Please slow down. Feel my news inside your skin, how it affects you. I invite you to breathe. Take time to feel the sensations. Sit silent with me. Thank you. Then for a change of pace, sexual revolution. In the mirror is the body she remembers, sexy as S and I and N. It is the fucking she remembers, full-fledged, hot and bothered, screaming orgasms, S and I and N that will never come again. In the mirror, the body is constrained now, scared. There is no more free love, no more S and I and N, free as the 60s, love revolution, and this is S and A and D that reflects back in her mirror. This body of love that remembers twisting hips, Amazon breasts, easy as S and I and N into stray palms. The price paid twofold in this new world after the free reign-fledged orgasms we remember, changed world, condoms, AIDS, all a sign of the future that came. Truthfully now, a lot has changed. I don't know if any of you have heard the recent news, but to have an undetectable viral load, a person will no longer spread the virus. So that has really shifted with the new medications, and that is a big step forward for the community. But there are still 20% of the population that are infected that do not know it. And people it is advised to get the test, even if you don't think you're a risk, because there are still people that don't know. And it's important to control it so you don't infect other people, and also to begin to protect yourself from the inflammation the virus causes and the diseases it'll eventually lead to if you don't, have treatment for it. So, seeking. Seeking. I have joined this story, this family, this band played on, this whole household of words to track, viral load, T cells, triglycerides, numbers that rise and fall, power to banish me to a dark cave, into fire, or to a royal blue no tomorrow. I entered this story with knowledge, Still it came, a surprise. Caught in a bear trap, speeding. A ketchup stain transfixed like blood on a soiled communion dress I wore only once. Is there a rehearsal studio to learn to survive? Shakespearean cliff notes? The White Plague took Keats at 25. Such a romantic story. There is so much to learn, then ignore, then carry on, like in any life. I forgot to say, the book's divided into 4 sections, and the first section is, who would you tell? And they're rhetorical questions, obviously. I'm going to read the last poem in this first section, Walking for AIDS. I did many, many AIDS walks over the years. I step into an army of marchers. I am already fatigued, defeated, returning home from a long war. Some can step in and out, but when one is infected, there is no exit. I step into the long journey of marchers. We grieve our losses in full regalia. We each carry lists of our dead. We are expendable. My fellow marchers keep getting younger. There are many more blacks, Hispanics, and women than ever before. Some refuse to join this army, but they have been drafted into it. They stand on the periphery, denying they belong here. We marchers are the lucky ones, fighting and walking bravely into a bleak future. Some bring their whole dysfunctional family. Others come alone, seeking camaraderie, support from the crowd. We choose to believe one another. Pair up to tell our stories. We move forward, trying to find a cure, create a vaccine, find alternatives and Western medicines to add to our arsenal. There are scientists, doctors, lawyers, and researchers who walk long and tired. There are social workers, therapists, psychiatrists, and chemical dependency professionals rising out of their addictions, carrying others. There are even politicians making laws for us and against us. There are whole armies of bystanders. Some cheer us on, others picket or carry bombs. Among us there are dissenters, those who will not protect themselves, self-destructive suicide bombers, who have no moral sense of right and don't care. Sociopaths, antisocials, who see no future in the human race. There are dancers too, healers and visionaries, massage therapists, poets, and writers of all kinds. Many of us have written miles of work and have miles to go. This is a well-beaten path with a bushwhacking future. It is near impossible to see anything but a stereotypical bleak ending. The map makers among us have the most unseemly job. They're charting overthrown or ignored, laughed at or disdained. Still, we continue every effort to map a new ending. Come, walk with us. The second section is, how have you helped? And a lot of these poems come from the work I did. I was an AIDS case manager, and I worked in a clinic as the HIV services coordinator, and then I worked in AIDS education. And I was also an adherence counselor, helping people take their medications every day, which is hard for people to do. As some of you know, you've been on a regimen for some common cold, and you're supposed to take it 10 days, and you feel better like in 4 or 5 days, and it's really hard to take those last days. Well, it's really hard to take medications every day when you feel well, and even I sometimes forget a day. So, anyway, so adherence counselor for a while. So I'm going to read training the new case manager to use the sex questionnaire. It's part of the job to talk about sex with men who have sex with men. I train the new case manager who just graduated from a religious college. It's routine to bring up STIs, how HIV is spread to those who might not know, routine to explore safer sex choices. We screen only male clients. The warm-up questions start. Have you had sex in the last 6 months? With a male, with a female? We talk openly to gay men with partners, husbands in committed marriages, old-fashioned moms and pop types. But we also talk to those at the far reaches of the continuum, in open and horizontal liaisons that consummate in parks and bathhouses, no names exchanged. We ask, do you carry condoms? The goal is to elicit conversation. Where do you go for sex? Are you a top or a bottom? Do you ask the person's name? It's part of the job. At the end, the new case manager is pale. Says, I don't know how you ask those questions. You will, I say. You will. True story. And I don't read this one too much. This is a short one. Ostrich, please. The dream was vague, undecipherable. Let some other dream go through the rigors of analysis. She dwells in shame, contemplates how humankind perpetuates her situation. She asks for chocolate sin cake with raspberry syrup. What she really wants is ostrich cooked well from El Gaucho. She'll show them she has impeccable taste. But such specialty items never show, and she can't walk or afford to get her own.
Yeah.
The next section is who have you lost? In this section, it's sentimental to me. I'm one of the early founders of the organization, the Babes Network. I don't know if anybody's heard of it. It's an organization, a support organization for women living with HIV, and so they do a newsletter, they do a yearly retreat, they have peer counselors, they bring in education programs, and they have a newsletter, and they've been going since 1991, about. So anyway, I was one of the early ones when we were getting together at a house, and I want to read that, but I don't have that on my list. Anyway, I'm going to skip over that one because it's not really right there. Okay, this was a coworker that I worked with who trained me early on, Jim. Jim loved trains. On his birthday, friends take a special train with his urn, scatter his ashes in his favorite mountains of Oregon. Jim loved sour cream lemon pie, coconut cream pie. He ate at dahlias, drank a fine wine. When he became too nauseated to eat, he had a plan and a secret stash. Certain losses no one can tolerate. Jim loved to travel south, visit fields of iris. He bought bulbs and planted them in his garden. Today I am blessed with yellow iris, in full smile. On my table they gather love from the sun, remind me of Jim. Unforgettable memorial. dedicated to a young man named Michael Mizrak, who was born in '62 and died in '97. Tonight, when I see your wife, meet her new husband, I swallow tears hard, hold the words in my throat. How is Michael? At your funeral, busting out, you danced to hard rock. I mean, boogie down danced for the camera. In your best Louis Armstrong, you sang, remember me as sexy. Slick, thin hair tossed over thin, shy eyes, 34 years old. Microphone-led rockabilly tour. You introduced your 3 cats, 3 cars, shared the precious memorabilia of your life. Our star volunteer, I nominated you for our award. A video producer, your creative eye made our agency proud. The night of the ceremony, rushed to the ER, pneumonia, wasting, the start of your final days. I carried your prize to the hospital, a glass heart full of blood-red swirls. And this poem is dedicated to Cass Anderton, who was the other one of the other founders where we used to meet at her house, Babe's network founder. 1, it's 3 sections. Have you seen dead men walking? Not the movie, men in real life, thin as rails, holding canes and walkers, young men in wheelchairs, skin and bone, pale, ashen gray. Dead men walking with IV poles, dead men standing, then tired. One more day at a time, in pain, on pills, body riddled with this or that infection, and no T cells left to man their army. No struggle. Angry at the system, victimized by the disease, at peace with their end, are in denial. They are not brave warriors. They are dead men walking on numb feet. Afraid to lose precious life, they hobble, stumble one day to the next. They move slowly through time. They want to do so much more. Energy burns rapid. Infections, fever, night sweats, and weak bowels break through. 2. Men is metaphorical. Dead women walk too. Dead women push boundaries, stand on airplanes with their IV poles, take a stand when denied access. What do you mean I cannot get on this plane? I have a ticket. I paid good money. Dead women walking do not go down easy, sometimes fast, never easy. 3. I walk in denial, healthy denial. I walk a long journey before the cane, walker, wheelchair, or numbness. I walk strong in denial that I am going to survive. I walk a dead woman's walk, strong as I can.
Yeah.
It brings us to the last section of the book, is how do you survive? Because this journey is a survival journey for all of us on this planet, I believe. So I think that's a rhetorical question. Oh, and this is where the poem I was looking for before is. Okay.
Go ahead and read that one then.
Okay, I will. I'll read that one. It's old timers, the women. Us old timers dwindle down to 3 who show up loaded with goodies. I made the salad, picked up bread and cheese. The girls bring crackers, more cheese and sumai. They do not forget dessert. Key lime pie, a berry sponge cake concoction. We eat until we can eat no more. We catch up on each other's lives, new work, recent losses, our latest vacations, the state of our mothers who are slowly leaving us. Right after trips home to visit, they decide to die. And then we experience the reemergence of our periods, as if our mothers are reminding us we are women even with AIDS. And there is so much to speculate about how the meds impact our menopause. All this talk tires us, and it is time to go. Lucky one can still drive the other home. There is a memorial next Saturday at 3 p.m. There will be a planting of bamboo. Ashes will be buried underneath. Our lives are full of ashes. Some of us blend them in pavers for our patios. Others have them in jars on windowsills, in urns above the fireplace. Our emotions are right on the surface, bubbles ready to pop. Tears and the flow of anger are storms that ride our intestines and spill our guts with necessity. We stand strong in the flux from easy laughter to weeping, glad to have each other still. I'm getting close to, I think I have 2, maybe 3 more, max. So is that, am I good on time? Okay. So this one is called Destined to Be Here Still. And this was reflections on the second National Long-Term Survivors Group, which was June, day, it's an official day now. June 5th, and this was 2015, I wrote this. And I started writing a whole lot of poems around that year, newer poems. My magical thinking mind acted out, a foolish broken wing fledging, running wild from heartache, missing my dear departed dad, my guardian angel, protection from harm, like an inoculation to survive, but caught off guard with holes in my aura, smoking pot, snorting a line, center stage in the sexual revolution, with nothing to hold this vanguard back. Freedom, a goal to achieve like a crown. An impervious mind believes it will incur no harm, no demon disease without a cure. Might belief in immunity be a strength when the unforeseen comes around? HIV, the cross our generation has to bear. It shattered our revolution and disproved the lie, all will be fine. Destiny to stay strong. Mercury in my chart, a prophecy foretold. You will work with young, sick men. On this Long-Term Survivors Day, celebrating 25 years, I remember my long list of the dead. Hold gratitude for my dad, who died too young, for friends still here, for the man who stayed despite my infection, and yes, even for HIV. Oh, okay. Green witch with AIDS. I am truly a green witch. It means I'm an herbalist. So I studied with Susan Weed, and I was certified in the Wise Woman tradition of herbal studies. So I'm officially a green witch. So green witch with AIDS. I walk with my toes afire. I am not safe within my walls. I shoulder many dark secrets. I am not a cavity. I am as deep as the ocean. I am not a female song. I am an ethereal being. I am not just partner to a man, I am full unto myself. I am not a female, I'm a planet. I am not a slut, I'm a sacred virgin goddess whore. I am not a stupid girl, I'm a wise witch. I am not a diamond in the rough, I'm a rainbow over the sky. I am not a crazy loon, I am Cassandra singing. And this will be the final one. That is the final poem in the book, the Green Witch poem. So, but this poem is, there's another poem in the Who Have You Lost section to my friend Bruce when he died. And in this poem I wrote on that Long-Term Survivors Day. He was one of my dear friends. So How We Survive is the title. And it has an epigraph: caring for myself is not self-indulgence, it is self-preservation, and that is an act of political warfare, by Audre Lorde, who I studied with in New York City back in the 80s, studied poetry with her. Blatant yet hidden contradiction in our stride, we carry on the work we must do to survive. Passing my friend in the hallway at work, I had a sudden mirror hit that he was positive too. It made sense why he stayed so long and worked so hard and lifelong like I. Each of us maintained a secret, aware of the simple wisdom to exert such control. When I told him my status, a new level of friendship, he made a joke, called what I had Posdar. Neither of us have children to carry on our legacy. We talked of the relief to let go, allow this life to be the end. No one ever knows the whole of another's existence. He's gone now. Always said only what he chose to say, natural when words came to the surface. We understood self-preservation, understood our duty to survive.
Yeah, I'm sorry I had to step out. I just wanted to make sure that Julene had mentioned the workshop that I'll be happening here tomorrow night. So if you're interested in that, you, as we go to the break, that's when you can purchase one of Julene's books or pay for the workshop for tomorrow night. We'll also probably be able to do drop-ins tomorrow, but if you have a question, drop by the gallery earlier in the day. So what we're going to do is take a break for you to get to know each other, have some food and drink, and buy some books. And in about 15, we'll come back for the second half of Ghost Town Poetry Open Mic. And if you can't be with us after the break, come back on December 14th when we'll have Jamie Houghton as our guest. And can we hear it one more time for Julene?